You remember Yahoo, right? Back in the early 2000s, it was the internet. The homepage everyone started their day with. You checked your Yahoo mail. You read the headlines. Maybe played some fantasy football. It was everywhere. Massive, powerful, trusted. But behind that familiar purple logo, a storm was quietly brewing. In 2013, something happened. Something big. Something that should have set off alarms across the digital world, but it didn't. Not yet. Because in 2013, hackers broke into Yahoo, and they didn't just scrape the surface. They didn't stop at a few thousand accounts or even a few million. No, they went all the way. They stole the data from every single Yahoo account that existed at the time. 3 billion accounts. Let that sink in for a moment. That's nearly half the world's population, gone in one silent, invisible sweep. And here's the kicker. Nobody knew, not even Yahoo, or maybe they did, and chose not to say anything. Either way, what happened over the next few years would become one of the biggest cybersecurity disasters in history. A scandal that involved Russian hackers, FBI investigations, secret agents, corporate cover-ups, and the fall of one of the internet's original giants. Today, I want to take you on a journey, a true story that changed the internet forever. One that shows how vulnerable even the biggest companies are, and how a single click can unravel everything. Let's go back to where it all started. Yahoo was huge, not just big, everywhere. Over 1 billion monthly users. Yahoo Mail alone had hundreds of millions. It was the go-to platform for personal communication, password resets, even business correspondence. But while Yahoo looked slick on the surface, its inner workings told a different story. Its systems were old, its defenses outdated. Security wasn't a priority, not really. They were still using MD5 to hash passwords, a method that had been considered weak for years. Security questions? Stored in plain text. Some databases hadn't been updated in years. It was a castle built on sand. And in the world of cybercrime, that's blood in the water. In August 2013, the sharks came. But it wasn't some high-tech heist like you see in the movies. It started with a simple, boring phishing email. One Yahoo employee received it. One click. That's all it took. From there, it was game over. The hackers were in. They moved through Yahoo's systems, quietly mapping everything out, just like burglars walking room to room, collecting everything of value. They didn't trip any alarms. No flashing lights, no alerts, just silence. They began exfiltrating massive amounts of data, usernames, passwords, backup email addresses, security questions, dates of birth, phone numbers. And this wasn't just about stealing data. It was about long-term access, long-term leverage. Because when you control a user's Yahoo account, you control their digital life. Their social accounts, password resets, business logins, it's all connected. Now you might be wondering, didn't Yahoo notice something was off? Nope. Not in 2013. Not in 2014. Not in 2015. In fact, it wasn't until 2016, 3 years later, that they even realized a breach had happened. And when they finally told the public, they didn't even tell the whole truth. They said only 500 million accounts were compromised. But that wasn't the real number. It would take another full year before they admitted the truth. Every single Yahoo account had been breached. All 3 billion of them. Let me say that again. 3 billion accounts gone. And all those years in between, your data was out there, on the dark web, being traded, sold, exploited, and you had no idea. Now here's where the story gets even darker. In 2014, just a year after the first breach, another one happened. A different kind of breach. This one wasn't about casting a wide net. It was surgical, focused, targeted. The hackers went after specific people. High-value individuals, journalists, CEOs, government officials. They weren't stealing just for profit anymore. They were gathering intelligence. According to investigators, this breach was coordinated with the help of Russia's FSB, their federal security agency. Yeah, that's right. This wasn't just cybercrime. This was cyber espionage. The hackers had a mission, gain access to key individuals' email accounts, read their communications, track their movements, gather information. And Yahoo, still unaware, still vulnerable. It was only after a small group of cyber investigators noticed unusual patterns on the dark web that alarms started going off. Traces of Yahoo user data, billions of rows of it, were surfacing on underground forums. Finally, in 2016, Yahoo came forward. But by then, the damage was done. And let us be honest, if Yahoo hadn't been in the middle of a massive acquisition deal with Verizon, would they even have told us? You see, Yahoo was in talks to sell itself to Verizon for $4.8 billion. But once the breach became public, everything changed. Verizon slashed $350 million off the purchase price. Investors panicked, users fled, and Yahoo's reputation collapsed. It went from internet royalty to a textbook case of what happens when companies ignore security. In 2017, the U.S. Department of Justice indicted 4 individuals, 2 known hackers, one of them already on the FBI's most wanted list, and 2 officers from Russia's FSB. They were accused of coordinating the Yahoo attacks, stealing data, and using it to target high-profile individuals. One of the hackers, Alexei Belin, had been wanted for years. He'd slipped through law enforcement's fingers multiple times. But here's the catch. Russia doesn't extradite its citizens. So despite the indictments, none of them face trial in the United States. They're still free. Free, after breaching the data of 3 billion people. Now let's pause for a second and ask, how did this happen? How does a company as big as Yahoo lose control of its entire user database? Twice. The answer is simple and terrifying. Negligence. Yahoo failed to invest in modern security practices. They didn't encrypt enough data. They didn't detect lateral movement, They didn't have strong access controls. And they didn't act fast when warning signs appeared. The systems were outdated, the security culture was weak, and the leadership didn't prioritize cybersecurity until it was too late. And you know what? Yahoo isn't alone. Too many companies wait until after the breach, after the lawsuit, after the damage. But once your user's data is out there, it's out there forever. Now, let's talk about consequences. Yahoo eventually agreed to pay $117.5 million in settlements to affected users. That might sound like a lot, but for 3 billion people, that's around 4 cents per account. That's the value placed on your private data. 4 cents. And while Yahoo paid some fines and faced public backlash, most of the real damage fell on the users. People who had their identities stolen, their bank accounts drained, their email accounts hijacked, their privacy gone. And that's why this story matters. Because this breach wasn't just Yahoo's failure. It was a global wake-up call. After the Yahoo hack, everything changed. Governments around the world rushed to strengthen their data protection laws. The European Union accelerated its work on the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. It became law in 2018, setting strict rules on how companies must handle user data and punishing those who failed to protect it. Tech companies began investing billions into security infrastructure. Two-factor authentication became standard. End-to-end encryption rolled out across apps. Security teams grew overnight. Yahoo's breach, as devastating as it was, forced the internet to evolve. It taught companies that data is not just an asset, it's a responsibility. And for everyday users like you and me, it was a brutal reminder that we can't take security for granted. So what can you do? Start by using strong, unique passwords for every site. Use a password manager if you have to. Turn on two-factor authentication. Be careful what you click on. Don't reuse passwords. Watch for phishing attempts. These sound like small steps, but they make a big difference. Because here's the truth, the next Yahoo could be anywhere. No system is perfect, no company is immune, and no one is safe if we don't stay vigilant. The Yahoo breach showed us just how fragile our digital world really is. A single click, a single oversight, that's all it takes. So as we move forward in an age where everything, banking, healthcare, social life is online, we have to ask ourselves, are we ready for the next one? And more importantly, Are we doing enough to make sure it never happens again? Because if there's one thing this story should teach us, it's this. In cybersecurity, complacency is the real enemy. Yahoo didn't fall because of one hacker. It fell because of a mindset, a belief that nothing bad would ever happen. Let's not make the same mistake. Stay safe, stay informed, stay protected. And if you found this story eye-opening, share it. Because the more we know, the safer we become. This has been Cybercrime Chronicles. Thanks for watching the video. For more videos like this, please visit our channel and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. That gives us the motivation to bring more eye-opening scams and heists to you. And until next time, don't get hacked.